Welcome back to Warrington Basketball. Today we are going to be talking missed opportunities. We're joined by Tom Shoebrook and Colin Rivet from Northwich and Mersey Mavericks. How are you, gents?
Yeah, good, thanks, Josh. Long time no see.
Good to have you on. Yes, so it's going to be missed opportunities. I will be discussing it from a league point of view. Obviously, yourselves will be coaches and potentially even players as well. Tom, we'll let you kick us off. Go ahead.
I like you go potentially even players as if we're both so far gone. There's no way.
Sorry, very insulting there. You can gang up on me in a bit, it's fine.
So one of the things that I've been doing over lockdown is looking at sort of development plan for the club and building up plans for the next few years. And I think looking at that, you realise the amount of missed opportunities that you have that just kind of go by because you're so caught up in doing, we have to get to this session and coach this session, I have to get to this game and coach this game and doing all that. And you forget about the small things that we could do and get volunteers to do that would help the club improve loads. Like one of the things I wrote down when you said about this last week was sponsorship and promotion. So I think the videos that you've been doing are a really good example of how by producing content, even quite cheap content, that engages with the sport, that celebrates the players in the sport, that like promotes the people we've had coming through. We can create something that really engages with all the players and coaches that are representing us and build the community and promote ourselves a little bit and give us a bit more sort of profile. And then you can use that and transfer some of that into trying to get more sponsorship, get other local businesses, people that want to support young people and their improvement to do that. I think I was looking through our archives of stuff, and we used to do a lot of like mini game videos when we only had a couple of teams where we put in our baskets and we put all the baskets of the other team. So it'd be like 2 or 3 minutes, quite low quality footage of all the kids seeing themselves score these baskets for this time. And it really engaged the kids. They were really into it. It's not anything as good as like Ryan at Loki Hoops that you might have seen on Facebook. He used to play for Allsager. He produced some really high quality like mixtapes with videos and backgrounds and music on it and all that. But if we just start doing little things and encourage people to do little things, we can self-promote the sport. We're not relying on other people doing it for us. So I think that's one of our big missed opportunities. I think if you look at somewhere like Colin's club, Mersey Mavericks, they're really, really good at promoting themselves on Facebook and showing you what they're doing and getting pictures and like happy kids on and happy sessions. I don't see any happy ones from happy pictures of Colin recently, but their quality and all that. And I think that it draws more people in, and the more you get likes and the more you get tags and all that, the more new players you get. We get most of our new players from social media, I would say.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you think about that.
Talking on that, obviously, The Last Dance on Netflix, that I know you said yourself. So we as a league have had, me personally, had countless messages from players saying, just watched The Last Dance, I want to start getting back playing, so on and so forth. I know you were saying you had the same. Brilliant. What's you said that you've had older players, so what do you think for that? And we discussed the Masters League.
Yeah. So I'll jump in there to give you the picture from the Masters. So there's an annual tournament. Well, actually no, there's an annual tournament called the GB Masters, which is held in a venue each year, and that's now it starts at over 40s for men, over 35 for women. It's now expanded out to probably have about 80 teams competing in it. So the men's over 40 competition will have 4 divisions, A, B, C, D, all at different standards. So, if you've got 6, 7 guys who want to play, who are over 40 and want to start playing basketball, that's an absolutely fantastic, event to go to. It's really well run. And it's just a weekend of basketball. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's a good social event as well, isn't it?
There's a dinner on the Saturday night, a disco. It is really good. And further to that, I mean, it's not just GB. Obviously, in the over 40s and over 50s bracket, you've got people who maybe have earned some money, are earning money, and their kids are now don't need looking after. So there's actually a whole European-wide network of these things. And literally, well, in a non-COVID year, I could play every fortnight throughout the summer in cities around Europe if I had the time and the money to actually do it. So there really is a thriving,
Is that open? Is that open to any team, Colin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just apply. Now, obviously, there's different standards and different things, but I mean, one of my missed opportunities is I wasn't able to go and play in the outdoor tournament in Venice. Yeah. How fantastic would that be to play in a veterans outdoor tournament in Venice? Yeah. So that's back on the bucket list.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that looking at it. So many people, they don't want to play against 18-year-olds running up and down the court trying to catch up with people, but sessions that are sort of tailored towards 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus. Because I mean, there's people in our league that compete at that level. Like Nick, that plays for our veterans team, is I don't want to reveal his age, but he's slightly older than the average age profile, and he's a really effective player. He's skilled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this goes up. There's I don't know if you know. Do you know Tim Martin-Jones? He's heavily involved in Liverpool. Used to be my coach at Liverpool. Tim's 75 and he's still playing in it. So wow. Basketball's for life. So it's not just a young man's game; it's for life.
Yeah, that's like Bill Baxter rapping still. Again, he's at advanced age, but he's getting up and down the court. He's coaching. He's getting involved in all sorts of stuff. He's keeping people involved, isn't it? And the knowledge within our networks is a missed opportunity, I think, sometimes.
Yeah. On the other end of that age scale, going for the really newly aged basketballers, so we're looking at the year 1 to 2s leagues. So for myself, running a league, I think a missed opportunity for us was the smaller sided games, and so the smaller baskets, even smaller teams. So it would be, I think we should, across the board as well, I think across England it should be 3v3 or possibly 4v4 depending on age. Smaller baskets, so usually we've got anything from year 6 down is an 8.5 foot basket. I think even the younger ones should be even lower, so we just started doing the 6 foot rings across court for the younger guys. But yeah, that and just a clock, not a score, not keeping scores of them younger ones. It should literally just be a matter of playing and just developing the skills and getting on court. Obviously, you do your coaching time and then playing. I know, Colin, you said about a past league where it was a point for hitting the ring. You know, so it's encouraging obviously the kids to get the shots up if they're not developed enough or strong enough to get it into the basket. At least if they're getting into the basket, I think that's a big missed opportunity with not just the Warrington Basketball, but I think across the country and how we're developing at the younger ages.
Yeah, I mean, I think the challenge at the younger ages always is that it's difficult to get the ball in the basket. Mm-hmm. It's not football where you can be blindfolded and still kick it in the goal from 8 feet out, can't you? It's hard to get it in the basket, and we have to find ways to reward them for getting it in the basket or even just getting it near the basket.
Yeah.
I think that the more baskets, the better, isn't it? You need to reduce barriers to scoring baskets. So smaller rings, smaller balls, everything that you can do, because they're not going to ultimately remember who's won or lost. They'll remember, I scored that. I shot that from ages away. I got that one. I think what you'd said, Josh, about not keeping score and just having a clock, I'd not really been into that sort of thing, but our school sports partnership last year locally, we hosted their year 5-6 tournaments. So there was one that went to the county competition, and it was all like, these are the proper rules, we're going to score this for this and run the clock, and it's very competitive, which was fine. It was a really good tournament. There was lots of kids there playing, one of the first ever games, and then what we did later on is schools that were smaller schools and had never played before, or just didn't have any sort of history in sport, and they wanted to get some of the kids out representing the school that had never played in any other sporting events. They took part in another tournament that the college hosted. So I got a few of the kids from our college to referee it. And we didn't keep score. 7 minutes on the clock, backwards and forwards. These kids running around, big smiles on the face, passing the ball, small courts. And we only had 10-foot rings, which was a bit unfortunate, but super happy. They weren't bothered about winning or losing. I think it was more the teachers on the side. Some of them were looking like, oh, this is the score, writing it down on their hand or on a little notepad. But we didn't give out certificates. We gave out certificates for sportsmanship. We gave out certificates for teamwork. And it was very positive sort of first introduction to basketball. I think we probably need to keep that sort of thing longer, because we get too caught up with winning or losing at too young an age. And I think then fills into everything that we're doing, where we look for short-term solutions and things that we're good at and are afraid to practice stuff we're not quite as good at. Whereas if there's no score, we're a bit more likely to be flexible, aren't we?
Yeah, and the kids are going to enjoy it more as well, you'd think.
Yeah. No one wants to go home and said, oh, yeah, where did you finish in that tournament? Oh, 10th.
Yeah, we were the last, so we don't want to play it again.
It's like, it's not like one team happy and 9 unhappy teams. Whereas if you're not keeping any, like, you got 10 happy people, like teams, which is what our aim is, isn't it? That age group, well, any age group really. Yeah. But if you've not got happy players, there's not a huge amount of point playing sport. But certainly at our levels.
Yeah, Colin, missed opportunities.
So. I think the way I look at the world, where the world is now, and clearly I'm slightly older than the two of you. I feel that I missed out because I didn't have any internet when I was learning to play basketball and learning to coach, and the opportunities that are available for free or for very little through the internet to enhance your knowledge of the game, whether that's how to play or how to coach, they're just massive on the internet. I just want to reiterate something that Tom said. That this forum, for starters, is fantastic. You know, it's a great place for people who are new to basketball to come and listen to some people who've been around basketball a while and get their views. But equally, all over YouTube, it's just full of free coaching sessions, learning how to coach, learning how to play. If I was a young coach or player, I'd be jumping right on that now. And I feel I missed out because I didn't really have that opportunity till I was probably 40 years old. Yeah.
Something at the minute that England Basketball are doing as well for the referees as well, so and coaches. But the online course is there to obviously get them on their level 1s, or I think on some of them they started doing level 2s now as well. That's a massive, massive opportunity. I know that's the first time they've done it, and it's mostly down to the COVID-19 stuff. But yeah, again,
I'm doing my level 3 through that, and I wouldn't realistically have been able to give out to sort of arrange the time to go to one of the level 3s as physical location, whereas doing a series of evenings and then a lot of paperwork. I can plan my schedule around that. I can do something around that. So it's enabled a lot more freedom in terms of learning.
If anyone from BE is listening to this, if you want more coaches, then do more online stuff, because it's just easier for coaches to actually be able to do it rather than have to give up half their life for a year to become a free coach.
I've had a conversation with Nick at Basketball England, and he is going to be doing a call like this for us, for Warrington Basketball, and then we were going to get all our coaches from the Warrington Basketball Association, and then any young players that are wanting to sort of become coaches, what we discussed in a previous video, and then putting on a bit of a clinic, a bit of a coaches clinic for them, so everyone could just tune in. There could be a bit of a live chat, question and answer. And that would be massive. But I think, again, that's massive for England Basketball as well, you know, so they can get a bit of support back as well, because I know obviously over the course of however many years there's been a bit of a falling out with certain people both ways. So it'd be good to build that and then get people to obviously back England Basketball.
Yeah.
And I think you were building on this one, what you were saying, you said in the past about working together and collaborating as a series of clubs in the centre in the Warrington Basketball leagues. That's an opportunity that we've missed because we all get on. We'll all like meet on a Friday or a Saturday in between games. We'll have a chat and crack jokes and speak to Andy Massey and Dom and Steve and all them. But because a lot of clubs are sort of run by one or two dominant people, how much learning can we do within that club compared to the learning that we can do speaking to each other, picking each other's brains, figuring out other things about basketball from each other. So I know what you've suggested in the past of working together through stuff like the coach's corner and stuff like running clinics. We can learn from each other and get a little bit stronger as a group by taking stuff off each other, I think. The openness, I think the openness is a really big missed opportunity that we've had. I think we wanted sometimes, I've got my thing, I'm going to grab hold of it and I'm going to keep it close to me so no one else can take it. I think we need to be confident and say, if I've got a particular thing that I do and that's my thing, me sharing it with somebody else, I'm still confident that I can do it to a high level. And it might be that they add a little wrinkle and that's even better. And then we both gain. I think I did this, did the development plan we mentioned earlier on. I sent it out to about 30, 40 people, some from within our club, most of them from all over the place. And got back loads of really good suggestions and good ideas of stuff that we could do slightly different and stuff that they'd say, oh, I'm going to take that and use that in my club or in my sport if it was a different sport. Like, yeah, brilliant. Because our ultimate aim is for more people to be playing and more people to be enjoying it and getting better. And if we do that, we all grow, don't we, as a community? Because basketball in England isn't a majority sport. It's not like I'm going to walk out of the door now and see hundreds of kids playing basketball. It's we have to kind of work together to build it. And I think the more that we can do that, then the opportunities that we miss go. Because there must be lots of kids out there that if we could introduce them to basketball at a certain age, they would love it. They would get so much out of it as players and as human beings, and they'd help us grow the sport massively. Yeah. So that, I think, working together.
Yeah, Tom Sansfield spoke about that as well. He said about in France how they're all basically forced to have to work together. It's not even an option of being egotistical or I've got the best setup, so I'm not listening to you guys. They are literally, they all have to sort of work off the same plan.
I was just thinking about what Tom was saying there, and as I said, I watched loads of online coaching clinics and stuff from American coaches, and all of their plays are called Wisconsin or Michigan or Argentina or something, and they actually say, well, yeah, I just stole this from a clinic I was at that someone from Wisconsin or Michigan or Argentina was doing it. So, everything that everyone runs is stolen from someone else or shared. I mean, clearly if it's at a clinic, he's sharing it, isn't he? He's saying, this is what I do. Do you want to have a go? And we need to buy into that as well. Yeah. And share and get ideas from other people.
Yeah. And then the other big opportunity, one of the other big opportunities I was thinking about for us as a club, probably not as much in Warrington because of the structure of Warrington at the minute, is local opportunities. Is you need to have something close to people that's cheap and accessible, and they could just drop in and have a go at something. Mm-hmm. So, like, we've got over the course of this lockdown, a few of my players from the men's team have been going and shooting at one of the local baskets near us, and they've ended up speaking to loads of kids that go down every day and will shoot around and play for however long, but they've never played because they're in quite a deprived area locally, and they've never really found our club and what we offer as a club. And then when they've looked at it, then they've thought it's slightly too expensive for us. So even though we try and keep the fees down, cutting down that sort of thing, getting sponsorships so that we can offer bursaries to kids on free school meals, making it very accessible for those kids is something that we should be doing, because otherwise you miss out on the people that... Basketball should be the cheapest sport to play, or one of the cheapest sports to play, because you only need a hoop and a ball.
Yeah.
But obviously the hoop, because it rains all the time, costs us a fortune to hire indoor space. But if we can subsidise things and cross-subsidise things, we should be able to offer the kids that wouldn't be able to afford it otherwise an opportunity to play for a very cheap price, I think, and local to them. Because there's kids like that won't be able to afford to travel from Northwich to Warrington, or from Northwich to Manchester if they go in National League, or Northwich to Leeds. So it's giving those kids the opportunity to play and get the same experience as the kids that are probably a little bit more affluent and parents are able to financially support them a bit better.
Dominic O'Neill from Carmel and Ormskirk, he's good at that. He's sort of offered quite a few opportunities to players that might not potentially have been able to afford it. He's taking kids over to New York to play over in the States and stuff. That's something he's very good at. Any other missed opportunities you think that we've not already covered? Women's basketball. How have I missed that? How have I not brought that up sooner? Women's basketball, more women coaches, more women's referees, and then a bigger participation. Obviously, it's a very difficult crowd, I suppose. Netball is predominantly the females' main sport. And then the way we've set up in the past has been mixed. Because we've not got enough women, we make it mixed, which is then obviously perhaps a bit daunting for some new players to do and get involved in. But yeah, women's basketball is definitely a big one, which is something we're looking to obviously promote and get running.
I think even for experienced players, it's quite tough to play in a league where you're the only female in a male league. The same as it would be the other way around, I'm imagining. But you see really talented players where, as they get to a certain age, the boys won't pass them the ball as much, even though they're just as capable. And I think you need quite a strong mindset to carry on playing in a league where it's all boys apart from you. Like Emily Atkinson, who's been playing in the under-17s leagues for ages, as the only girl now, isn't she? But she really works hard and is always really happy and confident and is a good shooter and a good scorer. But she's the only person playing in the whole league that's not a boy. And I think it can be quite tough. And I know Claire, that used to play for our 25s team, she was really, really talented as a player.
Brilliant.
But it's more difficult. She would have been a star in if we had a girls' league or a women's league.
Yeah.
And instead adapting to that, isn't it? And adapting your game.
Yeah. Again, it's a tough one. But hopefully when we come back with those that we've got interested, and even with these online refereeing courses and stuff like that, I'd be interested to put that out to a few of the women that are going to be coming and playing, or girls, to see whether or not we can develop them as referees as well, or even if it's just to develop their knowledge of the rules and what they can and can't do. So I know a few of the younger lads that have done their referees course, they literally did it so that they weren't bothered about ultimately going on and being a referee. They just wanted to understand it in a bit more depth and develop their game that way. So fingers crossed we can.
Yeah, I think with the girls, well, we talked about opportunities. Having that opportunity to play in a I think Colin said this before about an environment that is a girls' environment for girls, sometimes can be really helpful. Like at our college, we've got a girls' session that's been running for 2 years now, 2 years. And it started because there was a girl, Muna, who really loved basketball, wanted to play. It used to join in on the boys' training sessions, and she played for the boys' team in the league, and was really, really enthusiastic and really, really nice kid. And she persuaded a load of other girls from the year below to start playing and come and join. And we started a little session with all of them. They're a really nice little group. And then when Muna graduated and did really, really well and went off to university, then this group that she'd kind of looked after, they all promoted it to loads more girls. So we went from one girl to 8 girls to 16, 17 girls last year. And they're really positive and want to share and want to get new people in. So they'll be asking people, and they're not played before. I think we've had about 3 that have played a game, maybe 4 that have played a game in their lives. But they're all super enthusiastic about getting new people in. Whereas I think with the boys' college team, I'll tell them, speak to people about coming next year about playing for the team, or speak to him about playing for the team. He's pretty good. And they'll be like, no, we don't want the minutes to go. Whereas the girls are a bit more supportive. And it's a slightly different session. We'll put on music in the background. They used to choose that too. I hated their music, but we'll have a bit more of a fun session and enjoyable and learn basic skills. And then obviously COVID situation meant that our friendly games that were penciled in got cancelled, but they're really keen to do that and keen to start playing now because of the sort of bond that they've built with each other over the course of doing something new and something different. So I don't know what you think, Colin, and what other ideas you'd have to kind of build on that.
I mean, firstly, if you are that girl, the one girl on the team or in the league, then kudos to you because I just think that is awesome to be doing that. And it had the problem we have is that the way that goes is we tend to develop the elite girls who really want to play. We really develop them. I was lucky enough to coach Jo Leedon very briefly. And the reason she is so good was because she just competed with boys and she didn't care. She wanted to be better than the boys. But that's not participation, mass participation. If you want mass participation, then you definitely need that all-girls team, all-girls league. And I think more so than boys, it helps if you've got someone going into primary schools or year 7 and 8 secondary schools and kind of pulling girls in. And if you can get, a girls' school team where they all know each other already. Yeah. Because I think for girls, much more than boys, it's a social event.
Yeah.
And it helps if they're with their friends already and they don't have to make, new friends to start with. They're in a group that they're comfortable with. And then inevitably, as things develop, that social structure changes and teams change and they do make new friends. But I think it's a safe starting point for them. I'm with my mates and it doesn't really matter if I look a bit silly because I'm not that good.
Yeah, I'd agree with both of us. I think it's weird with English basketball is that the women's team is better than the men's team probably.
Yeah.
And that they're playing at a higher level and they're more successful in international competitions. But participation is much smaller.
And I mean, I bet you most of those girls in the GB team played mostly with boys, or until they played their first National League girls game. I would have thought.
Yeah, and I think that's another one where we've got a bit of an opportunity in the country because we've had Holly Winterburn has moved back to Britain. From the States where she was at one of the top colleges over there, and she's going to Loughborough now and Leicester Riders, and she's a very, very talented player. So if we can use players like that as kind of role models and ones people to look at and see, look, this can do these things for you, we can maybe break some of those barriers down a little bit. But the social thing is key. Our year 5-6 session has got a group of 4 girls that come to it and they're all friends. And they don't want us to split them up for any drills or any teams or anything like that. Yeah. So they have to stay together for it. And it's how are we going to then build that when we get to the next age group, or how do we go, we'll spin you off into a smaller girls session and then try and add on to it where people become a bit more comfortable. So.
For those watching, if you can comment below, let us know what you think is a massive missed opportunity that we might not have touched on already. I think for us, we've pretty much covered everything we can think of. Any other missed opportunities you think we've missed out on?
I just want to go back to something that Tom said right at the start, where he was talking about being so busy in his club. So if that's you in your club, the most important 5 minutes that you've got is the 5 minutes where you write the email out to all the parents saying, "Can anyone help me?"
Yeah.
Don't be frightened of doing it. People are frightened of doing it. They want to ask for help. The worst that can happen is no one replies. The best is that everyone replies, and suddenly you've got loads of people to do jobs for you.
That's one of the first things
there is a parent that would love to get involved. When we've got the younger teams and we've got a group of kids and we need a new coach or someone to start a new team or club or whatever, you'll be surprised with how quickly someone will step forward and be like, "Oh, I'll give it a go," and they're happy to learn on the job and stuff like that.
And sometimes they've got really good skills. Like we've had people volunteer to do our website over lockdowns. Somebody's volunteered to be the safeguarding officer, who's really good. We've got somebody taking over the Instagram. So, like Colin said, I was kind of just like, oh, I've got to do it all myself. And then when you sit down and go, let's ask if anyone wants to do things, people are like, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I don't need to know a lot about basketball to do that part of it, but I know a lot about what you actually need to do.
Yeah.
So anyone that wants to volunteer at our club or any others, I'm sure you'd be gratefully received. So
I bet. Also, anyone that's watching this is good at video editing. You can get in contact with me. Because so far, this is the best we're getting, and it's probably very amateur, but hey, we're beating England basketball for numbers, so I don't like it. Gents, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate your time. And again, those that are watching that have got any missed opportunities that they think they've had, please comment below. Subscribe, like. We will catch up again soon. Thank you.